Carr Show, the Monica Carr Show.
Greetings and welcome to the Monica Carr Show Summer Series. Take the label off the table. Welcome to segment 2 with author, former reality TV star, if you saw in segment 1, founder of a wonderful nonprofit and serial entrepreneur, Mr. C.J. Miller. Welcome back for segment 2, and thank you for your time.
Thank you for having me back.
Yes, at the end of segment 2, we were talking about this nonprofit that you started that I think does amazing work, and being so far a one-time author myself. And knowing how wonderful it is to be able to express yourself, I'm just so proud of the work that you're doing with the students. And I want to just take a few more minutes for you to hold up some of the book covers that the students are working on, as well as to tell us, although it was at the end of the last segment, where we might be able to find it. So tell us a little bit about the books that you're holding up.
Well, this is a book from a young lady who graduated last semester. Her name's Author T. Williams. We call all the authors by the first letter of their first name, last name for safety reasons. This is a book by a young lady named Author T. Williams, and her book is called Kiss by Sin. These are all fiction books. And I'm sorry, I didn't give you the name of the first one. It's Trials and Manipulations. And the last book was by a young lady called Life is the Hardest Stage. And so, you know what, Monica, to be honest, when we set out putting together this pilot program, my heart was to make sure these kids leave the program, or not leave, but their journey with Fab Five results in them getting a tangible. You hear about all these big 501c3s, these amazing after-school programs. But then when you think about, okay, what tangible product is the student walking away with? Because they need a constant reminder of their authentic journey.
Sure.
Like that authentic plug.
Yeah.
If I'm in a neighborhood that is selling me on the fact that the lifestyle I should believe in is being a blood or being a crip, selling drugs. If I'm a young lady, I need to be shacked up with some older men, getting my mom's bills taken care of, right? So yeah, after school, you put me in the gym with a basketball, I shoot around, but I still have to go home to that neighborhood with these same options.
Sure.
As a Fab Five author, you have an option, and some of the kids that I may know that they may be doing some things illegally, I just tell them, look, you can slang a brick, or you can slang a book.
I like that.
Period.
Yeah.
This isn't going to end you in jail, and so that opens that opens the door for me to then begin to softly see brand conversations and kind of really raising awareness. What is a brand? Do you know that you're a brand? Do you know the only thing different between you and Jay-Z or Beyonce is money? Other than that, you have a similar potential, if not greater. So that's the essence. That's why these books are so powerful. That's why when people visit fab5.org and they decide to donate or they decide to purchase a book, it's not just a book, because for these kids, it's hope to really, in California, one of the really big things to generate income is to rehab homes.
Sure.
Being in Boston, I'm sure that's a big thing, real estate. Well, when you purchase a Fab Five book, there are books, then there are Fab Five books.
Sure.
And when you purchase our books, I look at it as you are financially rehabbing this student's career or this student's future or this student's legacy. Because that student, when they start their family, when they go back home to their mother, we have a lot of kids that are bilingual. They are of Latino descent. They can go home to their mother and father and say, hey, look, I know we got here how we did, but I'm a published author.
Sure.
So, that is what it's about. It's about giving the student hope, but in really impacting the entire family.
Yeah, and are many of these stories based upon the students' lives, or do you find that they are creating fictional stories?
The brilliant thing is, I tell them it's fiction. You have the floor. Mm-hmm. You know, imagine if Harry Potter was authored by a 17-year-old kid from Watts, how much more different that story would be. Instead of a broomstick, it'd be a Cadillac. So I'm just saying, you know. But they start out wanting to write. They start out in the fiction lane, but because I know a lot of their personal backstories, I know they're only drawing on what they have to draw on, which is their experiences. So that's when it becomes therapeutic. Some of these kids deal with a lot of stuff, you know.
Sure.
So they are fiction books, and I'm going to say I believe loosely based on some real circumstances. But I'm proud of every author. This year, actually, this semester, we're on pace to put out 30 authors. Very excited about that.
That's awesome.
We're excited about, you know, having Best Buy come on board to help out and sponsor a few books. So, you know, we're just having a good time.
That is phenomenal. So talking about authors, you yourself are an author, and we talked about your first book, well, your first published book, I should say, Grind. I know you've written many books, how to turn your coffee break into your big break, but you have a new project that you're working on, and I've seen the cover art for it, and it certainly looks provocative. Please tell us about that particular project.
Well, I am so excited, so excited. Just to give you a little bit of background. So The Bishops Mistress is the first fiction book I am going to release. I've written 3 prior to it that are unpublished, that are coming out. The Bishops Mistress is just, you know, look. I'm talking to a friend, so I can be honest.
Go ahead.
The Bishops Mistress is CJ going to Barnes and Nobles, getting tired of going to the Christian section, and I don't have anything that I think is real. Just because you throw Bible in it or there's some sort of Christian theme, it doesn't have to be boring. Mm-hmm. There's nothing boring about the Bible. You got rape in the Bible, you got murder, you got sacrifices, you got all the issues that make up the axis that soap operas rotate on come from the Bible. So The Bishop's Mistress is a very, I've been warned not to brand it this way, but I like to call it raw Christian fiction. Okay. But it's for everybody. And the Bishop's Mistress is about a bishop, Bishop Samuel Jr. He has three 10,000 member churches. He's your mega bishop, you know. Okay. And unfortunately, we all, you know, the Bible says, though the spirit is indeed willing, the flesh is weak. Right. And so Bishop Samuel James Jr. finds himself in an extramarital affair with a young lady named Kara. Okay. The problem is, and this is where the bishop lifestyle is seriously disrupted. Kara's husband is an ex-drug lord who is a new Christian convert at the bishop's church. So the bishop has counseled these folks. He married them. And so now Patrick, who is Kara's husband, who the bishop is involved with, he finds out about this affair, and for the next 7 days, he says, I can kill you, or I can do something worse. I can take from you everything you love, your title, your status in the Christian community, your good standing with your wife, sure, you know, your reputation, your 3 churches that you so dearly covet. So that's The Bishop's Mistress, and to get more, you definitely got to get the book. It's coming to you October 24th. Or you can also visit cjmillerbooks.com. It's coming to you. That is The Bishop's Mistress, and I'm so excited.
Well, you have never been afraid of tough conversations or pushing the envelope. So here is yet another example. I'm sure the feedback will be mixed, but the book sounds provocative. I look forward to reading it. In talking about relationships, that is also something that you have focused on in the past, and it continues to be a conversation that is always relevant. There's never enough books that are written about them. There's never enough talk shows that are talking about them. And I'm wondering, do you have any, you know, like myself, having been married and divorced and have children, and having had time to reflect around that relationship as well as others that you've had, Do you have any thoughts around how authenticity values sort of play out in how we're developing relationships and what might be happening that's going wrong?
That's a very, again, I mean, I'm dealing with an expert here. That's a very brilliant question. How much time do we have? That's the important question.
Yep, we have about 5 to 6 minutes, so not that long. But
Let me tackle your question this way. Yes, I absolutely believe how we decide to live our life, or if we decide to live our authentic life, yes, it shapes the relationships that we get in. I believe oftentimes, however, though, you have people, Monica, you have people who, mom and dad had a bad relationship, or dad was a Rolling Stone, mom was a Rolling Stone. So as people who don't like to live in a place of fear, we start developing these strategies. So this is how I'm going to protect myself. This is the time when I'll let down that guard. This is what he's going to have to give me in order for me to give him this. Because I personally, actually, about a month ago, I heard a mother tell her daughter, girl, you better learn how to go out there. You better learn how to go out there and check that thing and get you a good man. And I just thought about, wow, what horrible teaching. So now this kid's false, authentic place is going to be using her milkshake abilities to bring the boys to the yard.
Right?
Not her business acumen.
Sure.
And so her authentic place is compromised. And so I absolutely think one of the toughest things for individuals, especially when it comes to relationships, is really being able to look at your upbringing. Because I believe your family, your friends, those experiences from 12 and 13 and 14 and 15, that's what shapes you as an adult. And so it's a really hard thing to look at this body of experiences that come from your parents and to go, wow, that's wrong.
Yeah.
Wow, like mom had some very self-destructive habits. Like, you're not supposed to attack dad, or you're not supposed to verbally beat your spouse up because you don't get that purse you want, and I'll say this lastly, just as my last example, I've met a few people in my past, some I've known in a professional capacity, some a romantic capacity, where you have women who they have admitted, when things get going good, it's just easier for me to self-sabotage the relationship because I know eventually he's going to cheat. So I don't even really allow myself to enjoy it. And that fear and that false truth comes from not that person, something they experienced earlier in life, or it came from a person who was an authority figure who pretty much said to them in a way that was gospel, this is what you need to do to protect your happy place. Yeah. You don't really ever trust them. You know what I mean?
Totally. I've been reading a lot lately about mindfulness, and mindfulness is really all about being right here, right now, in the moment, and sort of, I guess it has like a Buddhist sort of mentality around it. I don't think it, goes against Christian beliefs, but it really is about, not expecting of the future, but being right here so you don't miss out. And I think that, it's interesting because on the one hand, some people say, well, I don't want to be vulnerable because I don't want to get hurt. And I'm always thinking to myself in this new space that I'm in around authentic living is, why can't you just enjoy the moment? I think somewhere a dependency, this unhealthy dependency on the relationship forms. And so then you give so much of yourself that you're afraid that they're going to take it all away with you. And I'm not exactly sure how to tell people to combat that, because I don't know if that's sort of a learned behavior or something that you can re-educate yourself about.
Well, I first of all, that's a very astute observation, of course. I think, one of the examples I like to use is this. There are little small pockets of wisdom in everyday experiences and sayings. For example, oh, girl, I met so-and-so. I've fallen in love, right? I've fallen. Well, the phrase is I've fallen. not I'm skillfully bungee cording down into love.
Right.
Right? You fall, you dangle. And to those people who I don't want to get hurt, guess what? It hurts having a baby.
But you do
But
it.
on the other side of that hurt is an amazing life-changing experience, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so I think, to be honest, I think what a lot of people just have to do is to just understand that when you are endeavoring to live an authentic life, I don't think it's something you can plan for it,
Mm-hmm.
but the rules and and your authentic footprint, you discover that
Yeah.
on the way.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
You can buy as many books as you want, but it's really in the very basic things. Who you socialize with. Are you to your point? I read a book by a gentleman named Eckhart Tolle several years ago called The Power of Now.
Sure.
Pretty wordy book, but I'm gonna call it how it is. I feel like a lot of those truths came from Proverbs in the Bible.
Mm-hmm.
But at the end of the day, yes, it is very difficult to be present.
Mm-hmm.
Because to be present means I have to be selfless. Because to be present means I need to focus on everything, every quality outside of myself.
Mm-hmm.
So if I'm at a movie theater, or a better example, if I'm at dinner with a wife or a girlfriend, or maybe just a person who may need some positive encouragement, I need to really, like, that entire space, that entire moment in time is really about them.
Sure.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So if I'm all about, oh, well, look, girl, let me tell you what I did. Ooh, let me tell you where I got these shoes.
Right.
Ooh, let me tell you what he did to me on last night. All of that stuff, right? Ooh, let me tell you what he bought me. Ooh.
Right. Right.
Well, my mind and my heart, I'm not even in a place to hear. She just needs a hug.
Right.
She needs to know that after this divorce, it's gonna be a brighter day. So.
Right.
I know I said a lot to make a small point, but I definitely agree with that, and I think that if folks just kind of planned to be that emotionally technical, because that's really what it is. It sounds like a lot of work, and it is a lot of work.
Yeah, and I think that's the important thing, though, is I would love to believe that as people travel throughout their journey, they start to learn their authentic selves, and then they become that. But unfortunately, given the society that we live in and how label conscious we are, I think that people do get to identify who they are authentically, but I don't think that they are as comfortable living that out because of the label. So whether that be to have a short natural hair style because you really don't like going to the salon, or whether it's, spending less money on things because you actually would like to experience the world more, right? But you feel compelled to have this certain look about yourself. So you actually don't get to have the experiences, right? So you don't get to live out those values. And it's, I've had 65, 70-year-old, 80-year-old women tell me that, what I'm asking people to do around authentic living is a very difficult thing because perception is reality for some people, and that's how they base their decisions. So anyway, I could go on and on, obviously, about authentic living, but we have come to the end of the segment. But before we go, is there anything else that you would like the viewers to know before we sign off?
I would like the viewers to know, first and foremost, they have to support your show. Watch this thing, tweet it, hashtag it, get the book. This is a treat, and this is something as the digital space continues to evolve. You have to just kind of embed shows like the Monica Call Show, because that's what we need to make it from Monday to Tuesday to Wednesday to Thursday. So I want to definitely put that out there. Fab5.org, check us out. On Twitter, my Twitter name is @TheRealCJMiller. My IG name, which I'm new to, the whole IG thing, seriously, is I am CJ Miller. I know it sounds very narcissistic, but I'm just kind of going with what I see.
That's right. That's right.
Other than that, I would just encourage anybody watching this show, you know what? If you have a pocket of friends, if your inner circle is not set up for you to live your authentic life, you're doing your life a disservice. So do the hard work. It takes work looking like Trey Songz.
Yeah.
It takes work, Do the work, emotionally speaking. get those folks out your life.
Yeah.
And I'll say this lastly, you know, whenever a gardener cuts, you know, bushes from a tree, it's not to make it uglier, it's to promote growth. So, you know, just do the hard work. This is one of those shows that will help you do the hard work, because it's not easy saying, I can't kick it with you because you make me want to make it rain all day.
Right.
I'm done.
Well,
Thank you for having me.
On that note, CJ Miller has done a wonderful plug for the show. I thank you so very much for watching and for your continued support. This is the Monica Cost Show Summer Series, Take the Label Off the Table. I'm your host, Monica Cost. We had our guest, Mr. CJ Miller. All of his information will be at the end of the show. Thank you so much for joining us. Until the next time, dig in.